Imagine, you're 16 years old. For 4 years since you were 12, you've been practicing at least 2 hours every day, drawing consistently, drawing the same eyes every day, hoping to get better. You get into an art school, an arts high school, and you really want to go to a big city, go to an art college that's fancy, and be a professional artist. One day, you wake up and your shoulder starts to hurt. For 2 years, it's endless doctor's appointments, specialists, x-rays, MRIs, and by the time you're 18 years old, over 60% of the strength in your arms and your hands are gone. You were paralyzed. And you weren't just paralyzed physically, but mentally. Life feels taken from you. This is my story. So why did it take 2 years to get diagnosed? It was a nerve condition. And additionally, it took 3 and 4 years to get mental health diagnosis of bipolar and PTSD. So why did it take so long? Why didn't doctors believe me? I was well-dressed, I got good grades, I went to school regularly. I tried everything I could to do my best to try to get into the biggest art schools I possibly could. But no one wanted to believe me. I found out that I'm not the only one. When I got to college, I finally got to go to college, I was able to speak to others and find out that mental illness is stigmatized heavily. And I also found out because in college, I wanted to speak up about my experiences. And I found roadblocks from within my own culture and my own family. I was told it's demons. And I was told that it was all in my head. Well, it's in my head, but it's an illness. I also spoke to a lot of diverse communities at my university, including Black, Indigenous, and people of color. And within our communities, we found out that not only do we have the stigma, but it's a lot harder to get the healthcare that we need. I began to take policy classes and I decided to do research. I really wanted to do policy research about why there is this issue, and I learned a few things. So first, healthcare and mental health care is honestly feared in a lot of our communities. There is an irony within the Hippocratic Oath because it is taken by doctors in order to protect and serve their patients and for a healthier society and healthier people. However, for Black and brown communities, this did not happen. There's a long history of traumatic health care that has taken place, and Black and brown people were disproportionately affected. So basically, why should I go to the doctor when I'm not going to be believed, but also have a traumatic experience? Not only is this a medical issue, physically, but also for mental health care as well. For my grandfather, a brown, Mexican, indigenous man, he was on his last leg with fighting cancer until they finally believed him that he had cancer. And he was able to pull through because my family was not going to take no for an answer. The second thing I learned is that there is a gap in mental health care providers that are Black, Indigenous, or people of color. I personally was not able to get someone who understood right off the bat. And through my research in policy, I learned that school counselors are not promoting therapy or psychology fields to Black students or Indigenous students or people of color. And with the stigma already there in our communities, how will we know to go towards those fields? Imagine if we were promoting this in our schools and promoting for Black and brown kids to go into fields of psychology. Imagine the power of healing in our communities. We are already so resilient. We've gone through so much with generational trauma of racisms, microaggressions, different issues. And imagine if we all came together and had the power of the understanding and the empathy and the resources to heal together. Imagine having a therapist that understands the weight of having an intersectional identity, of all the different facets that affect you and who you truly are. Number 3, I learned that the COVID-19 pandemic affects everyone. And it did affect everyone. However, there's a lot of inequities. And inequities in equity is different than equality and inequalities. So basically, equity is bridging the gap of what is the leveled field, and equality is giving the same thing to everyone. So say if someone has 5 apples and someone has 3 apples. If you give 3 more apples to both people, one person's gonna have way more apples than the other one, and it didn't equal out. Equity, it would be giving the person with 3 apples 2 more apples to equal out with the person with 5 apples. So basically, we need to do this in mental health care and level out the field. What else can we do besides striving towards equity? Well, the first step is listening. We need to listen to those who are hurting and listen to those who are speaking up. A lot of us don't speak up because we know we won't be believed. I was silenced for 2 years, and I decided that I had enough. And finally, I was able to break through and get diagnoses. I was able to get the medication that helped me and ultimately saved my life. We need to encourage Black, Indigenous, and people of color to go into mental health care. So how will we do that? Grants, money, scholarships, different things, and honestly, just telling them that the opportunities are out there. We also need to diversify the field, but when we diversify it, we need to be inclusive of the field. So how will we include studies about intersectionality into our resources about mental health care and how we understand ourselves? When we have a healthier mind, we have a healthier body. And I know this because my condition is fibromyalgia. The nerve pain plays off my bipolar. So the imbalance of chemicals with my bipolar affects my nerve pain. So basically, when I'm sad, my body hurts. And when my body hurts, I'm sad. And it's an endless cycle. So when you have a better mind, it lifts a weight off your shoulders, literally. And we can have a healthier society when we have a healthier mind. We need to bridge the gap. We need to listen. It is time for hurting hearts. We need to hear and we need to heal. Thank you.